Hi you guys, hi, my name is Esther Ifan. Welcome to Esther On Demand. I am a Lagos-based lawyer slash content creator. In this space, I create content on law, I create content on gist, and I also once in a while, for those who love lifestyle, I create lifestyle content. So the federal government has slammed the husband with a 23-count charge for the death of late Mrs. Osinachi. Now, if you don't know the background of the story, what had happened was that I think it was on April 8th, 2022, Mrs. Osinachi Nwachukwu died in an undisclosed hospital in Abuja. At first, we thought it was throat cancer, or because she sings, it's possible that it's throat cancer. But with time, we got to find out that it was not throat cancer, not even close to throat cancer. That this woman has been enjoying years and years of domestic abuse by the husband. Further investigation, people came out, they reported what they had seen, how they had even been there, they saw the abuse from her producer to her family. They recounted how this man had treated her after he got married to her, how he had been beating her. Even the children were called, and those ones testified to how their father had actually ill-treated their mother, pushed her out of a moving vehicle, kicked her. Sometimes we tell the children to take canes and to beat her. And then of course an autopsy report was actually done on the body. So with the compilation of with the family's testimony, the autopsy report, even the children's testimony, the federal government was able to actually charge this man on a 23-count charge of killing his wife. But now I just want to go into the charges, one or two or three of the charges, what this man has literally been charged for. So before I go into that, now they are literally charging this man under two laws. One, the Penal Code 1, and two, Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act 2015. There are two different laws in which they are bringing all these charges against this man. The first one is on this count is under section 220 of the Penal Code, and they are saying that he committed culpable homicide. So now let me read the charge and tell you guys what they're actually charging this man for. Number one, count one. This is the first count. Remember I said they are charging him for 23 counts. This is just the first one. The first count is that you, Peter Osinachi Nwachukwu, 56, male, on the 8th of April 2022. These people are not making mistake. There's no such thing as, oh, we got his age wrong, we got his name wrong, we got his sex. They are telling you that we are not making a mistake, or this is the person in who we are coming for. Okay, so male on the 8th of April 2022 at Echo Estate, opposite police station Lugbe, Abuja, FCT, within the jurisdiction of this court, did commit an offense to wit. So the offense he committed is that one, culpable homicide, punishable with death, of Mrs. Osinachi Nwachukwu by your various acts of violence / aggravated assault with knowledge that her death would be the probable consequence of your act. So now the federal government is literally charging him of culpable homicide, punishable by death. That means if at all he pleads guilty, or they find him guilty of this offense, he will be punishable. The punishment is death. But we know how Nigeria is now. They will not kill him by hanging, they will not kill him by shooting squad, neither will they put an injection through his body so that he will die. No. Nigeria does not practice capital punishment. That's punishment by death. No. What Nigeria does is that they will leave the person there to be in jail for the rest of their life. So they would literally turn it to life imprisonment. So that's just one of the counts. So he's being charged for culpable homicide, punishable by death. Now, the second law in which he's being charged with is the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act 2015. Now, that law is only applicable in Abuja, the North, FCT. So in other words, they're actually charging him. Now, what that law is about, any violence that you perpetuate against a person, to an extent, they will use this law to charge him. Now, let's look at the sections in which they may possibly be charging him. I'm saying possibly because I've not seen the charge sheets. So based on what I've read online and what people are saying they're charging him for, I was like, okay, they're charging him under this law, then it will be under this particular section. So they are literally possibly charging him under section 9 of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. And they are charging him for forceful eviction or denial of entry into the house. If you really follow this story right from time, there were times in which the gate man, this woman was locked out of her house on several occasions. Like, the gate man actually talked about how sometimes he will have to come and open the door for her because the husband had locked her out of the house. So you know how men usually throw a woman's load outside, get out of my house, they carry her load, they'll carry her thing, they'll throw her outside. Well, there's a law against that in Abuja. As far as I'm concerned, there's a law against that. You can't carry your wife's property or even your husband's property and throw it outside and then not allow them access into the house. Actually, literally charging him also under Section 13 of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. Now, that particular section is against forced isolation or separation from family and friends. There were instances in which this woman was clearly isolated from her family. The family, when they spoke, they talked about how immediately this man got married to his wife, like he literally isolated her from her family members. She gave birth to the first child, the second child, the third child. Her mother did not come to do omogo. I think it was even the last child or the last born that, even when the mother came, Peter Osinachi, the husband, I don't know what happened between his mother-in-law and him. He literally told the woman to get out of his house, that he was no longer interested and she should leave his house. Even when her father died, there were stories that even when her father died, this man did not allow her to go for her father's burial. So to tell you that, what the federal government, the charges that they are bringing against him is not that they trumped up the charges. There have been stories around and they are able to find a section to use to hook him in the neck. So they're also charging him under Section 14 of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, which this section is literally against emotional, verbal, and psychological abuse. So there were reports that this man was not only beating her in secret, he was openly assaulting this woman in front of people. And he does it unashamed. If she comes back late from a program, a concert, he will call, he will shout, "Are you not done with that stupid program that you are doing?" So for all these charges that they are trumping against him, it's things that has happened over the years and they are finding a way to really put it under the law for him to be charged for it. He's actually charged under Section 13 of the Violence Against People Prohibition Act, which is forced financial dependence or economic abuse. So that what that literally means is that the abuser makes sure that you are totally 100% dependent on the person. You don't have a money of your own, and this is what happened in her case. She was working. I heard that if once you procure her services, the money has to immediately be paid into the husband's account. From the husband's account, he will now remove a little bit of the money and give it to her. He was making her to be financially dependent on her. Even I heard that her YouTube channel, that where she was displaying her songs and all that he sought for the password. He sought for everything. He wanted to know how much she was making per month. So they literally actually brought this under Section 13 of the Violence Against Persons Act, that, oh, this man was actually abusing her financially and economically. So those are just some of the charges that I was able to find, that I'm sure that, okay, this is out of these 3-4 charges that I listed. There's a lot of, imagine the federal government charging someone on 23 counts. That means this one, that one, that, like, that means this man has possibly really committed. And the federal government will not just charge you on this based on the fact that, oh, of hearsay. I'm sure that autopsy report that they did not release to the general public, I'm sure the autopsy report speaks a lot on what really caused her death. And that's how they were able to come up with this 223 count charge against the man. And another thing I wanted to say, this 223 count charge is like this. If one does not catch him, number 2 will catch him. If number 2 does not catch number 3, so it's no how. There's no way around it. This man cannot, what's the word I should, he cannot escape this one. But one of the main charge against him is culpable homicide. That of all those things that you were doing to her, you knew that there's going to be a possibility of death, that this thing could possibly cause her death. Yes, kicking her in the chest, pushing her out of the vehicle, slapping her, beating her. You know that this can possibly bring her death, but you kept doing it. As one of the things that they are charging this man for. So if this woman had known that for all these evil things or wicked things that this man was doing to her, that there's a law against it, maybe she would have been confident enough to leave him and even press charges against him for all these things he has done. So I just said I should just come and give you guys an update. You can be rest assured that I'm going to follow this thing back to back. Okay, so you guys, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Until we see again.